The Chicago Bears have completely revamped the interior of their offensive line. The tackles are still going to be the same, but the tackles were actually pretty good last year. Like, these are the 5 new or old offensive linemen for the Chicago Bears. You see that the top 3 are going to be the interior guys. So Drew Dalman, the center, the number next to these guys' names is going to be where they ranked according to PFF last year. There are a couple of asterisks, one I forgot to write down, but Joe Thuney's asterisk is that part of his grade was at the tackle position, but he was worse at the tackle position. He's going to play guard for the Chicago Bears, I would assume, unless something goes horribly wrong. That's what the plan will be. Jonah Jackson's the other guy that there should be an asterisk there as well, as he did not play much last year. He was a former Pro Bowler with the Lions, but then really struggled with the Rams last year. Did show some flashes, though. And then, so his PFF grade 34th, that was from 2 years ago. And then the 2 tackles, Darnell Wright and Braxton Jones, both, according to PFF, were effective players last year. And let's start there with those 2 guys. We're going to show some film from all of them. But right here, you see, okay, they each have one-on-one matchups on the edge. And I really do have to say that when the ball was coming out of Williams' hands at a reasonable time, pressure was not often coming from the edge. Watch, as of right here, I would say the ball is actually going to come out of Williams' hands a bit quick on this play, but nonetheless, even if it wasn't, the tackles are doing their job. There really isn't pressure. This is a clean pocket for Williams. He makes the throw early, but even if he didn't, he would have been okay. Tackles, I'm not going to sit here and say that it's the best tackle tandem in the league, but it's a solid tackle tandem. This is not an issue, in my opinion. But okay, now let's talk about the newcomers. How should they be able to play for the Chicago Bears? Well, first, Drew Dalman, who was the, one of the big additions that they made. He was the only guy that they just signed off the street as a free agent. Everyone else were, the other 2 guys were trades. But you see how he has a one-on-one matchup here. It's going to be a running play. And watch how, when you see this play begins, right here, he's doing a good job holding his own, winning his one-on-one matchup. The reality is, sometimes centers struggle at blocking one-on-ones, which kind of makes sense, right? You have to start with your hands out of position. That gives you a slight disadvantage. It can be more difficult. Sure, totally makes sense. But Dalman was not one of those players. As you see, he finishes off this block well. Bijan Robinson has the room to run and make that play work. Whether it's the passing game or the rushing game, Dalman, a very effective center and should be very effective for the Chicago Bears, whether it's a run or a pass. They also traded for Joe Thuney, who, again, is now a 4-time Super Bowl champion. He won a Super Bowl. It was the last, or I guess I should say the most recent Patriots Super Bowl. He was with them for that one, and then won 3 with the Kansas City Chiefs. So unless I'm forgetting someone, I believe he's the only active player with 4 Super Bowl rings, which is kind of fun. But anyway, let's watch what he does. He really shines in pass protection, I would say, more than run blocking, although he can do both. Watch here how really, I mean, this is, not even close at this point. You see how he's completely shutting down this interior defensive lineman. He was so good at pass protecting, they kicked him out to tackle, and he was actually okay there. He wasn't a mess. It just, I think he's a better guard because that's his natural position. As you see, he does a pretty good job on that one to fully finish off that play. So well done by Thuney. Again, this is what you expect him to do, is consistently win his own one-on-one matchup. So him and Dalman can consistently win. The 2 tackles are solid. What about that Jonah Jackson guy, right? Who we kind of said, hey, he's, former Pro Bowler with the Lions, but maybe hasn't been super sharp with the Rams. However, I will say, though, so they ended up having him, so he, lost the starting job, but did come in as a backup, for the Rams in this game. It was week 18. They decided to rest their starters. So they didn't really care about getting the 3 or the 4 seeds, so they rested their starters. And you have Jonah Jackson right here. He played a full game against the Seahawks, who were playing their starters because they were already knocked out of the playoffs. And watch what Jackson was able to do. You're going to see this is actually kind of definitely something that Ben Johnson wants to see his players do, which is in the screen game, get out in space and get in position to block someone. And that is what Jackson can do. And to be honest, that's what a lot of these players can do. They have some athletic linemen, and Ben Johnson was not just going out of his way to get guys who can pass protect, but he wanted guys who can run block because Ben Johnson likes to, run the ball, and he wanted guys who can get out to the next level and make plays this way, and Jackson has been very effective at this. As you see, he's able to finish off that block as well, so really just a well-done job. And I gotta be honest, when I saw him play, I didn't think he was that bad. And I'm a little surprised the Rams decided to move off of him so quickly. So I don't know what's going on there, but I'm expecting him to be all right, especially when he's surrounded by a lot of good players. He should be effective, I would think. This is my biggest concern with Caleb Williams, who is the quarterback on display. The orange jerseys might throw you off. Notice it's not a slightly discolored footage of a Chiefs game. This is in fact a Bears game. Caleb Williams is going to take the snap. This is going to be a blitz that the Houston Texans are going to be running right here, and this is by far and away my biggest concern about Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears when it comes to pass protecting. As you see, Williams takes the snap. There is going to be pressure, and this is just something that he does is, and we all know it, he holds on to the ball for a while. And I know it's not that long into the play, but it's a blitz. You got to get the ball out of your hands quickly. Williams doesn't really do that. And I think that adding to the offensive line can do one thing, which is it can give Williams more time so he can get rid of the ball. But ultimately, if you're holding on to the ball for forever, eventually pressure is going to come no matter how good your offensive line is. As you see, pressure comes here. Eventually he does get sacked. And ultimately, as good as the offensive line is, sacks are not just an offensive line stat. They are also a quarterback stat. And so it's not going to be about how those 5 guys work together. It's going to be how the 6 guys work together, including Williams, and even the receivers matter, because if they're open, Williams doesn't have to hold on to the ball for too long. So it all blends together. Ultimately, though, Caleb Williams is Caleb Williams, and yes, he might hold on to the ball for a bit too long, and hey, maybe letting there not be pressure when he holds on to the ball a bit too long can help with some of this stuff. But again, Ben Johnson knew what he was doing going to the Bears. His career is going to be tied to Caleb Williams. For better or worse, that's where you're at, and at this point, it's all about getting him in a better situation, and so helping out the offensive line is a way to do that. I think it's fair to say that just because this offensive line looks very good on paper does not guarantee success, right? Williams could still hold on to the ball for too long. Guys could still fail to get open, which could result in the pressure eventually getting there. Like, pressure is not binary. It's not no pressure or yes pressure. It's always a stopwatch, and it's always coming together. It's like gravity, right? It might be slower, it might be, faster, but it's always working, right? But making it slower can still help and can still give time for Caleb Williams to make something happen. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, those are my thoughts on all of that. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching. Hey, thanks for watching to the end of that video. I do appreciate it. If you want to see my other channel, Jackson Kruger Movies, where I talk about movies, give some film reviews and stuff like that of a different kind, if that seems like your kind of thing, the link is in the description below for that, as is the link for my Twitter account. I'm at Jackson Kruger, so give me a follow on there if that's your kind of thing. And also, of course, remember to hit the subscribe button on this channel. I do always appreciate it, and thanks again for watching to the end of the video.